Alright, so part 2 of the fresh level 65 raiding guide. This time it's Moonlord Master, and I want to point out some of the key differences in the actual design of the base before I start the raid. So the difference here between Xehanort Ultra and Moonlord Master is that I changed the pal pods to be like on one side of the base here. You can see they go in this little nice arc here. Then we got the pal box control device thing at the far end of the base there, and then the summoning altar just behind the pal box. So what's going to end up happening is that we deploy all the pals at the back of the base, we summon Moonlord Master, and then we head out this way. And then Moonlord Master is going to be facing us this way. And since his beam can't really go behind him, we're going to have all our raid army pals standing here hitting him. They're still going to be hit by these like random attacks from the hands, but from the head itself up here, this head beam is going to go right across the base here, hitting this pal box and then going out here. So no pal pods just in front of this sort of line that we got here, this imaginary line here. Everything is hopefully going to be behind here, only being hit by the eyes itself. And then another difference from Xehanort Ultra in the part 1 video is just that the party pals are not going to be doing any sort of damage at all. They are purely being used for rescue pals, so you don't need the Frostallions at all. And you could, if you wanted to, change the pal surgery table stuff for the 3 jet dragons in the party to just be this sort of rescue build instead of this attacking build with Meteor Rain and full attack passives. So we're gonna jump straight into the fight. So the first thing to mention is that these party pals are not gonna be doing anything except helping the rescue pals, so you could just go for 5 full speed / defense jet dragons and just ignore the Frostallions. And then as mentioned previously, we're just gonna summon the boss and head out the sort of, let's say, the front of the base. And you will see that Moonlord just kind of faces you, and the beam from the face or the main eye, it never goes behind him, unlike those eyes that it sends out backwards from the hands. So this should ensure that your pals are pretty safe when it comes to like this beam attack slicing through them all. Now, they are still going to be dying a lot at the start of this fight here, but it's mainly just to get this head eye down as quickly as possible, and then you can head in and start rescuing them manually yourself. So standing just outside the base here, as you can see, is far enough away that you won't be targeted by the beam, so you'll sort of have to find this distance. I just go a little bit outside the base. You could go until it turns to day and then start heading backwards in a little bit, but the multi-guided missile launcher just has an incredible range and will hit 100% of the time if you're just shooting towards that eye. So now you can see it's getting a little bit low. I turn off combat on my party pal, and I'm getting ready to sort of head into the base, because you can see that the base pals are all pretty much dead. They might have gotten off 1 or 2 attacks each before all going down, but the jet dragons, even like the rescue pals and stuff, are all going down from this spam from these hands. So they're going to be going down a lot. It's mostly just to add this little bit of damage with random like dark wisps and beam slicers and stuff like that. But at the start of the fight, they are all gonna be going down, and you don't really want to head into the base until this main eye is down. So you could do this without the pals in the base as well, but just makes it a little bit quicker this first stage of the fight. So now we're going to be heading into the base. The main eye is down, and what you can see here is that even if the main head is down, the multi-guided missile launcher will always focus on the head. So you need to swap to something else. Now I like to use the plasma cannon here, because you can shoot these 2 shots while the eye on each palm is open. You could also do something like the charge rifle and sort of have it open in between, like you're sort of charging it up and then tapping it, and then when it opens the eye you shoot. But I find the plasma cannon maybe a little bit easier to use for this, just because you do want your party pal to be helping with the rescuing while you're just like strafing around sideways to avoid these little like eye projectile things that head your way. So when your party pal sort of comes back to you, that means all the pals are rescued, but it will also like sort of head off, because they all just keep on dying every time. So what I like to do here is, you can see sort of my shield down to the left. I have a little bit of shields left, so then I don't really care if I get hit. As soon as my shields drop down to 0, when you start losing health instead, that's when I feel like you should be heading out of the base. Just stop taking damage for around 30 seconds, get your shields back, and then you can head back in and start rescuing with your jet dragons. Just feels a little bit safer, because Moonlord Master does have a lot of skills that can one-shot you, even if you have like full health. Just these sort of weird projectile attacks that different sort of eyes. There's like 4 different eyeball attacks in this fight. And they all hurt quite a bit. Like, these tiny little eyes that fly around are pretty minor, but they are annoying for getting your shields to regenerate if you're inside the base. So you probably want to do this sort of heading in and out of the base every time your shields drop, letting them regen. It's kind of like when you're fighting tower bosses, that you can go full on attack when you have shields, and then when your shields are down, you kind of just want to be strafing around, hiding behind pillars, stuff like that if you're new to those sort of hard mode bosses. So it's kind of up to you. Maybe it would have been better if I focused this left eye to start. Like, focus the same one that your raid army is focusing on. I've never really seen the raid army split their attention. They always seem to focus the same thing. So focusing on this eye here to the left might have been better, just going for whatever your raid army is going for. Then we have the eye to the right, which I was shooting on a little bit before. So when you defeat the eyes, let's say the head eye and the palm eyes and stuff like that, they sort of drop another eye. There's a lot of eyes in this fight that starts doing this sort of beam slicer attack, which hurts your pals a lot. I think you can see this beam slicer attack going off from the eyes that are sort of hovering at the base of Moonlord. They also do quite a lot of damage. They also shoot out this sort of, it's gonna be more eyes. They shoot out like a cluster of eyeballs together. That also does a ton of damage. So it's really just a ton of damage for each skill. But as long as you have shields, like you can have 1 health left on the shield, it will tank the full shot and you will lose 0 health. So just gonna do some manual rescuing there. I think that was the beam that just killed like 10 Neptilius at the same time. Sending out the party pal to rescue. I still have shields, so I don't really care that much. And then I feel like just kind of strafing in this sort of figure 8 thing. When the eyeballs are heading towards me, I like to strafe kind of like forward and slightly to the side, just to dodge a lot more. You really don't want to be standing still, so just keep on moving. And then once all these eyes, the palm eyes and the head eye and stuff like that, once they're dead, your pals start focusing the chest. You can do that as well, and then you can go back to the multi-guided missile launcher and you can stop aiming. You can just kind of shoot. Maybe don't aim too much above it. Like if you're bending them too much, they might just start looping around. Try to aim pretty close so that they can actually like hit the target and not just loop around it and get stuck in this like infinite circle thing where they're just orbiting the target. But now you can go really far back again. Like the range on this thing I think is pretty much longer than the render distance in the game. So you can stand however far back you want. It's just that you won't hit the hands with it. You can only hit the head and the chest. And then you have a couple of other options, like the charge rifle as mentioned. Plasma cannon is just a lot cheaper ammo. And I feel like it's a little bit easier to use. Like you just click and it hits. There's no travel time or anything like that. Just aim and click. You don't have to predict where the hand is going or anything like that. So that's it really. We did the successful fight for both Moonlord Master and Xenlord Ultra with just these captured legends. So it's the same thing really. Just check out part 1 if you want the full explanation for everything. But it's just capturing these like 12 Neptilius, 5 Jet Dragons. You don't really need the Frostallions for this fight, but you do want them for the Xenlord Ultra fight. Level the pals up. I did miss leveling 2 of them, just accidentally missed out, but it's not a huge difference against Xenlord Ultra, but against Moonlord Master, the damage penalty from being underleveled is quite high, so I guess it just means that you could do it with even less than what I'm showing here. Then we just got this tech tree stuff, just like the white plasma cannon, the white armor, accidentally wearing plasteel armor as well, and the blue or green multi-guided launcher, and no Terra Prisma, because I just didn't want to go into range for the Terra Prisma, and then just pure attacking pendants. And as mentioned before, you can do this without deploying the pals in the beginning. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. I think with this green multi-guided missile launcher, no real attack buffs going on, it took around 4 minutes or something to get the head eye down, just standing outside the base. Go outside, like you can see they're sort of targeting you. You can go outside until it becomes daylight again and then just head back in and start shooting. And then they will just eventually die, this main head eye thing. And you can put your pals back in the base once it does go down. So you can see here it took around 4 minutes and 15 seconds, something like that. And then you can just go and deploy all your pals with this remote pal storage thing that you can put at the edge of your base to do it a little bit safely. Just make sure you have your full shields before you do this, because you're going to be targeted while you're doing it, depending on how fast you are as well. And then something else worth mentioning is all these pals do have this full research bonus, the plus 18 defense and attack percentage. So that's something you really should be maxing out before starting any sort of raids. So that's it for this video. Gonna put the summary here again, and thanks for watching.